The game failed. Not slowly, not gently. It collapsed the way startups collapse. Money burned, deadlines missed, hope fading one meeting at a time. Stewart Butterfield didn't lose because he didn't try. He lost because the world didn't care. Players didn't stay. Investors didn't wait, and the market didn't reward effort. The product was beautiful. The team was smart. The dream was real. But none of that mattered. When a startup dies, the world doesn't mourn it. It forgets it. He was mocked. Not openly, but with silence, the most brutal form of rejection. Calls stopped coming. Emails slowed down. People moved on. And suddenly he was left with something smaller than a company. A handful of exhausted people still sitting in the same room because they didn't know where else to go. Most founders protect their ego. They defend the idea. They pretend the failure wasn't real. Stewart did something harder. He admitted the truth. The game was dead, and if they stayed loyal to it, they would die with it. So he looked at what remained. Not the product. The tool they built internally just to survive working together. A simple way to communicate. And that tool, born from failure, would quietly become the thing that changed how teams work forever. This is not a story about success. It's a story about surrender. The kind of surrender that allows a second life. This is the story of Stewart Butterfield. Failure didn't arrive as an explosion. It arrived as exhaustion. Meetings that went nowhere. Numbers that didn't move. A product that looked impressive but didn't hold attention. The game was called Glitch, a world they built with care. Art, mechanics, humor, creativity. But players didn't stay. Not long enough to matter. The team watched the same pattern repeat. New users entered, looked around, and disappeared. And every disappearance felt like an insult to the months they had sacrificed. Money drained faster than optimism. Investors became quiet. Deadlines became threats. Soon, the company wasn't building anymore. It was surviving. Stewart Butterfield felt the weight in a way the outside world couldn't understand. Because when you lead a team, failure isn't just your disappointment. It becomes everyone's future collapsing at the same time. He could see it in their faces. People who had moved cities, left jobs, risked reputations, and now sat in a room waiting for the inevitable. When the game finally died, it wasn't dramatic. It was silent. And silence is what makes failure feel humiliating. No applause, no closure, just the sense that the world was laughing somewhere without even needing to speak. When Glitch failed, the company became small overnight. Not just financially, emotionally. The room felt emptier. The energy disappeared. People stopped talking about the future because saying the future out loud felt embarrassing. Some left. Others stayed. Not because they believed, but because they didn't know what else to do yet. Stewart had a choice. Pretend the game could still be saved, or admit the truth. Admitting the truth is dangerous, because the moment you say this isn't working, you become the one who killed the dream. But he said it anyway. Glitch was dead. And the only thing worse than failure is wasting more years trying to deny it. So he looked at what they still had. Not the game, the team, and the tool they had built internally to stay organized during the chaos. A simple communication system, messages, channels, search. A clean way to talk without drowning in emails. At first, it wasn't the main product. It was just survival equipment. But when the game died, that tool was the only thing still working perfectly. It didn't need hype. It didn't need imagination. It solved a real pain. And Stewart realized something quietly. The best thing they built wasn't the thing they were proud of. It was the thing they built because they were desperate. Slack wasn't born from confidence. It was born from admitting they were wrong. Isn't exciting when you're inside it. It feels like grief, because you're not just changing direction, you're burying the version of yourself that believed the first idea was enough. Stewart didn't pivot because it was trendy. He pivoted because there was no other way to survive. They stopped building the game. They stopped pretending, and they started polishing the tool they had once ignored. They didn't call it revolutionary. They called it necessary. Slack was simple, but it felt like relief. No endless email threads, no scattered files, no confusion about who said what, just clarity. And clarity spreads fast. Small teams adopted it first, then startups, then companies that didn't want to admit their internal communication was broken, because everyone had the same problem. Work was moving faster than communication. Slack didn't create a new behavior, it organized an existing chaos. And when people experienced that organization, they didn't just like it, they depended on it. The same world that laughed at the failed game now watched the same founder build something bigger than the game ever could have been. Not because he got luckier, because he got honest. He accepted that the dream was wrong and protected what still worked. That is rare. Most people would rather die with pride than live with humility. But Stewart chose survival, and survival became Slack. Slack didn't win because it was flashy. It won because it understood something most companies refuse to admit. Teams were drowning. Not in work, in confusion. Too many messages, too many tools, too many people pretending they were organized. Slack became the place where chaos could finally breathe. And Stewart Butterfield became proof of a brutal truth in business. Your first dream might fail, not because you're weak, because you were wrong. And being wrong isn't the end. Refusing to admit it is. The game died, the world laughed, the company shrank. But inside that failure was the one thing that mattered. A tool built in desperation, polished with humility, and launched without ego. Slack was not a comeback story built on pride. It was built on surrender, on the rare strength of letting go of what you wanted to protect what actually worked. Stewart didn't rebuild by denying failure. He rebuilt by accepting it. And sometimes, the most powerful move in life isn't pushing harder. It's admitting you were wrong and starting again before the world forces you to. Sometimes failure isn't the end. Sometimes it's the only moment that forces you to build the thing you were meant to build all along.